Well, hello, my name is Chris and glad to have you with us today. What we're hoping to do over the next series of lessons is learn how to play guitar together. Now, I've been teaching guitar for a long time, and there's a couple of things that I always run into with folks when I meet somebody that has either played guitar currently or they have played guitar in the past but quit. And a lot of times it comes down to the fact that they struggled and they lost interest in the instrument. And so the reason why I feel like that happens so often is because people end up trying to play things they aren't quite ready for yet. And when that happens, that's usually when you get a little bit discouraged. So that's the reason why with these lessons, we are going to start from the very basics and we're going to walk you all the way through being able to play guitar. Now, will these make you the master of the instrument? Not even. But what we can do is we can lay a really nice foundation for you that will help get you started. There are a ton, as I'm sure you've probably figured out by now, there are a ton of online resources. They are all great. The one thing, though, that those lessons can't give you, and it's the same thing you can't get here with these lessons, and that is that one-on-one feedback. There's some extremely talented and very good local guitar teachers, so I would encourage you that if you're serious about learning how to play, that you seek out a local guitar teacher just so you can get that feedback, and you can always supplement those lessons with video lessons like these. So let's get started. I said we were going to start from the very beginning. Let's do that. Obviously, if you are watching this today, you probably have an interest in playing guitar, but you may not actually have a guitar. So let's start there. First thing that people always ask when they want to get a guitar is, how much should I spend? Because it's really overwhelming when you step into a guitar store and there's racks and racks of guitars and you don't even know where to begin. So that's the reason why I always try to give a little bit of a price range of what you can expect to spend as a beginner on a new guitar. Somewhere between the neighborhood of $200 and $400 is probably a good place to start. People ask, well, how much should I spend in that range? Well, as much as you can afford. Try to get the best guitar you can for the money that you have. There's some great guitars that are out there that fall within those price range. So don't let that scare you off, and don't let a used instrument scare you off either. There are plenty of great used instruments that are available that you can get at a little bit of a cheaper rate maybe than, or a cheaper price than maybe a new guitar. So with that in mind, that's the first thing that people always ask is, how much should I spend? And the second thing they always ask is, what kind of guitar should I buy? And I think for a long time, people tend to have this idea that you had to somehow, you started on an acoustic guitar and that somehow the electric guitar was something that you graduated to. Now, I don't necessarily believe that, and for these lessons that you're going to be watching here with us, whether you've got an acoustic guitar or an electric guitar, we're going to approach it the exact same way. And from a beginner standpoint, I think you'll always find it that way. If you are into, say, Joe Bonamassa, who you watch here on WTCI, you're probably going to lean more towards wanting an electric guitar, and that's fine. If you are into more of, say, the singer-songwriter types, you may want to lean towards an acoustic guitar. It's purely up to you based on what you want. Now, one thing I will say is that if you do plan on buying an electric guitar, don't forget you're going to need an amplifier, which should run you somewhere in the neighborhood of another $100, give or take. So that is kind of an idea of what you can expect to spend and what you should be looking for, whether it's an electric or an acoustic. And beyond that, when you go to the music store to shop for a guitar, pick up what you like. Pick up what, even if you don't know anything at all about the instrument, that's okay. Pick up what you like and what appeals to you. If you find a guitar that you really like, that you think is great, then you're probably going to be more inspired and you're going to want to play more. So don't be afraid to do that. The other thing is when you pick it up, set it on your lap, hold it, see how it feels to you. Is it comfortable to you? Some guitars are more comfortable than others. One other thing that I will say about the electric guitar as well is if you're buying an electric guitar, don't forget the amplifier. You're also going to need a cable that will run from the guitar to the amplifier. We'll talk a little more about that. They run in lengths of anywhere from $6 to, or from 6 feet rather, to about 20 feet, and you can expect to spend somewhere in the neighborhood of $20 to $25 on those, depending on how long of a cable that you feel like you need. The other part when it comes to playing guitar, whether it's acoustic or electric, is there are a bunch of accessories out there. Everything from guitar polish to cloths to be able to wipe your instrument down when you're through playing, tuners, picks, capos, all of that. And we'll talk about all of those things at some point in time. But let me give you a couple of things here that you probably want to check out as far as the accessories go when you're in the music store. First of which is going to be a pick. That is what we are going to show, and it's kind of what we are going to be using to play with on these lessons. Now, you can play with your finger. That's absolutely fine. A lot of people prefer to do that, but I would encourage you, picks are relatively inexpensive, so when you go to the music store, take a couple of dollars with you, a few extra dollars, and pick up a couple of picks and find something that you like. It is purely based off of your taste and what you want. Picks come in all shapes, all sizes, and all colors. So there are several that you can pick and choose from. Use whatever you think is, again, what is comfortable for you. Now the one thing, and I don't want to necessarily say that it's a must, but it sure will save you a lot of frustration and aggravation as a guitar player, and that is a tuner. Tuners now run for, you can find a great tuner for $20 now. So don't be afraid to spend that money. Get yourself a tuner. We'll talk a little bit later on about how to use one of those. Most of the ones that you find now look something similar to this, and these tuners clip on the headstock of the guitar. So here is the clip, and it would attach onto the headstock of the guitar. You turn it on, you pick the string, and then you can use this as a guide to help you get in tune. Once you develop your ear a little bit as a guitar player and as a musician, at that point you will be able to be kind of tuned by ear a little bit, but until you develop that ear, you probably want to invest in a tuner. There are other things that you can invest in as well. If you want to play standing up, now I'm going to choose to sit down during these lessons, but should you choose to play standing up, you're going to need a strap. That will make it much easier, and straps attach to the guitar, and they come everything from, custom leather, very expensive straps, all the way down to nylon straps that are $10 to $15. And again, you can get into some of the leather ones that run $100 or more. Totally up to you if you want to spend that money as a beginner. The other thing I would say is strings. The guitar you buy, obviously, is going to come with strings, or at least it should. Now, when it comes time to change the strings, that's when you will know it. Your strings will get kind of muddy sounding. They'll be kind of dead. They won't ring out, so to speak, as loud. You'll know when it's time to change your strings. And when you get to that point, again, you go in the guitar shop, there are tons and tons of guitar strings for you to choose from. Typically, for a beginner, what I would suggest that you look at is the lightest gauge of string that you can get. The reason I say that is because a lighter gauge of string, that means the string is not as thick, which means as a beginner, you're not going to have to push down quite as hard to hold those strings down. So that is a couple of things to help you out and get you started on it. One other thing, though, quickly before we finish here, about buying a guitar. Yes, You want to find something that you like the way it looks. You want to find something that is comfortable for you to play. The other thing that I would suggest is pay attention to what on a guitar is called the action. And the action represents the distance between the strings and the fretboard, which is this area here. So what you want, the closer this sits to the fretboard, the easier your strings are to be able to be pressed down. If the action is higher, that makes it much more difficult to push down. If the action is lower, it will make it easier. If it gets too low, then you will get a buzz somewhere on the guitar, and you don't really want that either. So there is a very fine line there. Most guitar shops that you're going to shop at in this town, they will be able to take your guitar and adjust it for you if you need to get the action adjusted. All right, thanks for being with us. This is our first lesson. I promised we would start at the very beginning, and I hope you found the things that we've talked about today useful for you. Thanks again for being with us, and join us again next time. We've got another guitar lesson coming your way very soon.